Al-Bayhaqi narrated that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, طلب العلم فريضة على كل مسلم, which means seeking the personal obligatory religious knowledge is an obligation upon every Muslim, meaning whether male or female. This hadith clarifies for us that there is an amount of knowledge or a portion of the religious knowledge which is an obligation for every Muslim to acquire. Through this amount of knowledge, one knows how to pray, one knows how to recite Al-Fatiha properly in a valid way so that their prayer is valid. One knows how to perform Hajj or Umrah, or how to fast the month of Ramadan, for example, or how to pay zakah if they are amongst those whom are obligated to pay the zakah. And like that is the rest of the religious knowledge. Depending on the situation of each person, there would be certain things that this Muslim is obligated to learn about before getting involved in it, so that they do not fall into an invalid worship. We know what is halal and what is haram through the personal obligatory knowledge. We know how to protect ourselves from kufr, blasphemous matters. And just as it is important to acquire this amount of knowledge, it is also important to seek it from someone reliable and trustworthy. For not everyone who appears to be an Islamic teacher or a sheikh is actually a credible person. In the introduction of his book As-Sahih, Al-Imam Muslim related the saying of the highly esteemed Tabi'i, that is, follower of the companions, Muhammad ibn Sirin. He said, إِنَّ هَذَا الْعِلْمَ دِينٌ فَانظُرُوا عَمَّنْ تَأْخُذُونَ دِينَكُمْ, which means, indeed, this knowledge is religious knowledge. So look thoroughly into the one from whom you acquire your religion. Subhanallah, we should stop for a moment and remind ourselves of far simpler matters. If one was seeking a particular university or college, one would usually spend a great deal of time looking into it and checking the different levels and accreditation of the universities at hand to determine which one was a better fit for them. If one needed a treatment from a doctor, one would usually look for one recognized to be a specialist in that field. If one wanted a house to be built for them, they would search for the best qualified builder or person in that field. Most definitely, the knowledge of the religion is of a much higher priority, and one needs to look thoroughly at whom he or she takes their knowledge from. The Prophet ﷺ told us in a hadith, أُنَاسٌ مِّن جِلْدَتِنَا يَتَكَلَّمُونَ بِأَلْسِنَتِنَا تَعْرِفُ مِنْهُمْ وَتُنْكِرُ دُعَاةٌ عَلَى أَبْوَابِ جَهَنَّمَ مَنْ أَطَاعَهُمْ قَذَفُوهُ فِيهَا. This hadith means there are people whose skin is like ours, who speak the same language that we speak, who, for example, would have names like Ahmed or Zayd or Muhammad. The Prophet told us they mix correct matters, which we accept, with wrong, invalid matters, which we would denounce. The Prophet also said, these are people that stand at the gates of hellfire, inviting people to enter. Whoever listens to them is thrown into hell by them. This hadith highlights for us the great danger of preachers of corruption and people that are spreading their misguidance under the guise of Islam and being Islamic scholars when they are not. The religious knowledge protects you. Al-Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu, and he is the most knowledgeable companion of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. He is also the person whom the Prophet chose for Lady Fatima to marry, and she is the best woman from this nation. He, radiyallahu anhu, said, knowledge is better than money, because knowledge protects you, whereas you protect money. This means knowledge rules over things, whereas money is ruled over. Money diminishes as you spend it, whereas spending the religious knowledge by teaching it and spreading it to others increases your reward. The intelligent one is the one that strives for what is better for their dunya and their hereafter while they can. We ask Allah Ta'ala to increase us all in the authentic religious knowledge. Ameen, and Allah knows best.